Excellent. All right. So today we're going to be talking about solving equations using factorization. Right. Now, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, this is actually lesson 6 of 6. Lesson 6 of 6. So if you're coming in the middle and you're a little bit confused, it's probably because you've missed 5 lessons. And all of those 5 lessons are actually still available on our website. So don't fear. Exactly where you're seeing today's lesson, right underneath that is all the lessons we've had before this. And you can go and watch those as a reference to what's going to be happening in this lesson today. All right, so we're going to be solving for an equation, right? So if you're doing a maths test or something, the question would, or the instruction would say, solve for the unknown. Okay, solve for the unknown. Okay. In this case, the unknown is usually X. Sometimes they'll make it A or M or T. It's all the same. We're solving for the unknown. In the question that we have above here, okay, this example that we've got, we are solving for X. This example over here, the instruction would say solve for X. Okay. It would say solve for X. And then they'd give you the sum. The sum would read x squared plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 20. And then they would tell you solve for X. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is we want to make sure that whatever we write on this side of the equation is equal to 0. That's what you want to make sure. Okay, so that means anything that's sitting on the other side of my equation needs to come over the rainbow, and we need to, or over the equal sign, sorry. I'm using funky language. Okay, it needs to go over to the other side of the equal sign so that we can have 0 on one side. So if our sum reads x squared plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 20, we don't want 20 on this side. We want to take 20 over to the other side so that we can have 0 over here. But can anybody remind me, if I take 20 over to the other side of the equal sign, what's going to happen to it? If it's positive 20 on this side, what happens on the other side? You can either type it in the chat or you can raise your hand and let me know. Good. It becomes negative 20. Excellent. It becomes negative 20. So we're going to get x squared plus 5x plus 6 minus 20 is now equal to 0 because we've got nothing left on that side. Okay. And the rule that we're using here is called the zero product law. It's not important for us to know it just yet. We just need to know how to implement it. We'll talk about it at a later stage. Okay, now we need to do the mathematics. Add like terms, guys. I need to take positive 6 and minus 20 from that. What will I get? 6 minus 20, what is that? Good, Amahle, that's it. Well done, Tando. That's it, Charlie. Good stuff. I'm going to get x squared plus 5x minus 14, right, which is equal to 0. Excellent. It's going to give us negative 14. But we've seen this guy, this thing, this kind of equation before, right? It's a quadratic. And whoever just told us they won a soccer game, I want to hear more about it, Kamahelo, in just a little bit. I just need to finish my example. Okay. All right, so we've seen a quadratic before, and normally when they give you something that looks like this, a trinomial, we know that we need to factorize. That is our next step. As soon as we have 0 on this side, and we have a trinomial on this side, our next step is going to be to factorize. Okay, that's what we need to do. Now, when we factorize a trinomial, we would typically open 2 brackets, right? Is equal to 0. And in grade 9, it's easy for us to just go put an x here and put an x there to begin with. All right, so now I need factors of 14. I need factors of this number over here. Factors of 14 that when they minus each other, okay, when I minus them from each other, they need to give me positive 5. Okay, I'm going to start us off. Here's one pair. 1 times 14 is equal to 14. Nkosana, what do you think? What other pair of numbers would give us 14 if we multiplied them? Oh, Nkosana's not unmuting. Oh no. Okay, all right. Nkosana, I'm going to wait for you to unmute when you're ready. Or maybe Khabiso can help us. Okay. Oh, there she is. Nkosana, how are you?
I'm good, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. All right, can you give me 2 other factors of 14?
Oh, ma'am, I just wanted to ask you, can you repeat from the top of x squared plus 5x plus 6 minus 20?
Okay, what is 6 minus 20, Nkosana?
It's negative 14, ma'am.
Negative 14. So that's where we got this negative 14 here. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
But now I need you to give me the factors of 14 that is going to go into our factorization or into our 2 brackets, because what we're doing with x squared plus 5x minus 14 is that it's a trinomial and we need to factorize it.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Is that making sense?
Yes, ma'am. Now it's making sense.
Okay, so give me 2 numbers that when multiplied together will give us 14. What do you think?
It's negative or positive, ma'am? 14.
It won't matter just yet.
Okay, ma'am. Can I calculate right now?
Just think of 2 numbers that can go into 14. When we multiply them together, they give us 14. If you're stuck, have a look in the chat. Everybody's in the chat has already helped us. See, Novuyo's helping.
Oh, yes, ma'am. It's 2 times 7.
Good, 2 times 7, excellent. All right, so here's what we're going to do, Nkosana. Because our number over here is negative, because this is actually negative, we need to take these 2 numbers, either 1 and 14 or 2 and 7, and we need to minus them from each other, and they need to give us 5. So which 2 numbers can I take and minus them from each other to give us 5? Between 1 and 14 and 2 and 7. What can I do? So I'll give you a hint. If I go 14 minus 1, that's going to give me 13. And 13 is not the number that I want. I want 5. Can you think of any other 2 numbers?
2 numbers. Between 1 and 14.
No, between the 2 pairs that we have over here. So I know that 14 minus 1 is not going to give us what we want. What about 2 and 7? How can I write 2 and 7 so that they give me 5 as an answer?
Your right name is negative 2 plus 7.
Good, good. I'm going to get 7 minus 2 is equal to 5. Do you agree with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. So that means my 7 is going to be positive and my 2 is going to be negative. Yeah?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Good. So that's what I'm going to put into my brackets. I'm going to go x plus 7 and x minus 2. All right. Are we okay with how we did that, Nkosana?
Ma'am, it was fine. Now I understand.
Excellent, excellent. I'm glad to hear it. Awesome stuff. Okay. So from here, I then have to take each of the brackets that I've got here and make them equal to 0. So my next step is to split them. I'm going to split them into 2. This one goes that way. This one goes that way. Okay. And I'm going to say x plus 7 is equal to 0. In the middle, I need to write or x minus 2 is equal to 0. Okay. And then we can just solve for x in both of these. Tobile, how would we solve for x here?
Ma'am, I just wanted to ask, how did you determine that 7 was positive and then 2 was negative?
Because I need a positive 5, my sweetie. I need positive 5. So if I had made 7 negative, if I made 7 negative and I made 2 positive, what is negative 7 plus 2?
It's positive 5.
No, it's going to give us negative 5. Okay. If I owe you 7 Rand and I only pay you back 2 Rand, do I still owe you?
Yes.
How much do I still owe you?
5 Rand.
So good. So that's going to be negative 5. Okay. But I don't want negative 5. I want positive 5. So my bigger number must be positive. Okay.
Thank
Does that make sense? All right, my
Yes,
sweetie.
ma'am.
Good stuff. All right, so that's why we make the other one positive and the other negative. Positive, negative equals positive 5. All right. So now I need to solve for x plus 7 is equal to 0 and x minus 2 is equal to 0. So now I can take the plus 7 over to the other side, and I can take negative 2 over to the other side. I'm going to get x is equal to, my positive 7 will go over and become negative 7, or x is equal to negative 2 will go over and become positive 2. Okay. Okay, Joshua says they can't see my screen. I just want to make sure that everybody is able to see my screen. So if you can see my screen, please give me a thumbs up. If not, give me a thumbs down so I know what action I need to take next while I take Nkosana's question. Hi, Nkosana.
Ma'am, can I ask something, ma'am? How
Yes.
come did you get a negative 7?
If I take positive 7 over to the other side of the equal sign, what happens to it? If I transpose it, what am I going to get?
You are going to get, means you are taking it from the positive side, you minus it by 0.
Yes. Good. I minus it. So when it gets to the other side, it will be minus.
Minus. Oh, it's the same apply this 2.
Do you see how the negative 2 was, it was negative on this side, and when it goes to the other side, it becomes
Positive, ma'am.
positive. That's it. That's why I only have positive 2 here. Okay.
Okay, thanks, ma'am.
All right. Excellent. Oratile, do you have a question for me, my sweetie?
Hi, ma'am.
Yes.
So ma'am, my question is, ma'am, so there, ma'am, where you said x is equal to negative 7 or x is equal to 2, ma'am, do we take
Yes.
the one that is closer to 0, or do we just leave it like that?
No, it just means that there are 2 answers that will give us the answer we're looking for. Okay.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
It's very possible that both of them are correct answers.
Okay.
So that's why we say or. It's not that one is better than the other. They're both correct.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're very welcome, my sweetie. Tando, what's up? For those of you who are 100% on what's going on, I want you guys to try these questions here. Try A and B, and we're going to have a talk about B quickly, A and B, but try them out. And if you're done with them, just type done in the chat for me. Okay. Hi, Tando.
Hello, ma'am.
How you go? How are you? Ooh, my English
I'm
is
good, and
disappearing.
you, ma'am?
I'm good, thank you. All right, how can I help?
So, ma'am, I've noticed that here in Watobe, how they put the question here, it's different from how they put it at school. So I wanted to find out, is it like the method of how this question is done? Is it still like the very same way, even though you guys put it differently to like schools?
Yes. Okay. Maths is a universal language. Okay. So it's the same everywhere. So if you happened to go to China,
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
if you happened to go to China and you found that they wrote something Chinese, and I'm completely making up Chinese characters, and then you saw X. And then the next thing was x squared plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 20. You can, before you even understand Chinese, you can be like, oh, they're asking me to solve for X. It's all the same, no matter how you do it. Okay, as long as the mathematics has been proven, then that's what it would mean, the same thing. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So the method that we are using is a mathematical method. If it looks different from the one at school, it's fine. They both work. If the one that they use at your school is a little bit different, it might still be mathematical. Yes, 100%. Okay, because
Okay.
they're different ways to do the same thing.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Okay. All right, excellent, my sweetie. All right, somebody said it looks like Japanese. I agree, and it's because I've been learning Japanese lately. I'm sorry. Okay, but that wasn't the point. The point is maths is the same everywhere. I want us to look at question A quickly. Okay, Mohau, for that specifically, we have something really cool for you at the end of today's lesson. So we're going to show you. Okay, we're going to show you something really cool that's going to be able to help you with that assignment. Isn't this just so? It's serendipity, Teacher Simone, that Mohau is saying what he's saying at a time like this. All right, I want you guys to note that, right, in question A here, I've already factorized for you. This is already factorized. So we can skip that top part that we did, and we can go straight into splitting it over here. And I see that Mobile has already given us the correct answer. Okay, if anybody wants to continue the answer for me from where it is, Mobile, I would really like to speak to you about it because it seems like you're onto the maths and you're doing it nicely. Javiso, don't put the hand down. You can put it right back up. Okay, so that we can have a conversation if you want to help me with this question. Don't be shy. Okay, I'm more than happy to have you answer the question for me. Okay, what would my next step be? If my sum says x plus 2 brackets x minus 5 is equal to 0. What is my next step? What would I say next? I would split this into 2.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, then what would I do? Tell me what to write.
You're gonna write x plus 2 equals to 0.
Good, x plus 2 is equal to 0. And then?
Or x negative 5 equals to 0.
Beautiful, that's it. Okay. My
And
next
then
step?
your next step is x equals to negative 2 or
Excellent.
x equals to negative 5.
Beautiful. Ah, you're a whole rock star, my dude. Well done.
Yes,
Well done. Very
Thank
nicely
you.
done. Excellent. Okay, Otenda, the reason why we don't multiply the brackets out is because we already have a 0 on this side. Okay, we already have a 0. So we don't have to multiply in or anything of that sort. Okay. All right, does that make sense? Javiso, I'm just going to ask you to mute yourself for me, please, my boy. Okay. Santrishka, when you say please re-explain, from where, my sweetie? From where did I lose you? You need to tell me where I need to take you from. Okay. Okay, Jackie is saying, why is 5 positive? Jackie, if it was negative 5 on this side, what happens when I take it to the other side of the equal sign? If I transpose it, what happens? What will it become? And you guys can help her out in the chat if you know why negative 5 then became positive 5. Pop your answer in the chat. What happens if when I take excuse me, when I take negative 5 over to the other side of the equal sign? It becomes positive 5. That's why I wrote positive 5 over here. Okay. All right. I'm seeing Santrishka, did you come into class at the very beginning or did you join us like halfway? Okay, you need to let me know. You're very welcome, my sweetie. Okay, Novuyo, can we answer B together? Are you able to help me with B?
Ma'am, I have a question, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, ma'am, for x plus 2 is equals to 0 or x minus 5 is equals to 0, ma'am. Ma'am, because 2 is positive, ma'am, and you going to move it to the other side of the equal sign, ma'am, is that why it becomes a negative?
Yes, that's it. That's exactly why. Because when we take anything over to the other side of an equal sign, it changes sign. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Same with negative 5. Do you see how negative 5 okay, how negative 5 became positive 5 when it went to the other side?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is that making sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. All right. Oratile, do you also have a question, my sweetie?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, ma'am. I forgot to ask you before. So, ma'am,
No worries.
will they ever ask us to like simplify further than where you gave us, ma'am, or is that the final answer?
Well, I mean, in this case, they said solve for x. So what they want you to end up with is that x is equal to something. And that's exactly what we've done here, yes? So when they say
Yes, ma'am.
solve for x, they want you to get to the final answer that x is equal to something.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, my boy. Excellent. Okay, Ka?
Ma'am, the brackets, don't they mean multiplication?
Brackets do mean multiplication, but in this case, we're factorizing. Okay, the rule when we're solving for x is not to multiply in or out. I'm going to show you the instances where we should multiply out. But in this case, remember, let's look at that first question that we had. Okay, in this question, we had a 20 on this side, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then I took the 20 over to the other side and it became negative 20. Okay. So the thing that I need to do is as soon as I get a 0 on my right-hand side, then I need to start factorizing. Okay. That is the rule. If I have a 0 on the right-hand side, I need to start factorizing on the left-hand side. So if this question was something like this, if it said x plus 2 brackets x minus 5 is equal to 12, if there was a 12 here, then we would multiply out first. But because it's already 0, because it's already 0 for us, we don't have to multiply out. We need to factorize. Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
as soon as we have a 0 here, then we start factorizing. That is the rule that we need to learn. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. Sana, what's up?
Ma'am, if ma'am
Yes.
it was, and it ma'am it's x plus 2 x minus 5 is equal to 0, ma'am. If ma'am it was another number like 10, how do we factorize it, ma'am?
Then what we would have to do first, Nkosana, is we would have to do FOIL first. We would have to go first, outer, inner, first. Okay. We would then have to go x squared minus 5x plus 2x minus 10 is equal to 10. And then we would take this 10 and we would take it where? To the other side. Agreed?
To the other side, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Good. We would take this 10 over to the other side. And then we would have x squared minus 5x plus 2x minus 10 minus 10 again equals?
Is equal to 10 minus 10 is equal to 0, ma'am. Which means it is
Good, it's equal to 0. Right, okay, but this is not 10. This is negative 10 minus 10. Okay. But as soon as we have a 0 on this side in Nkosana, then we need to take this side and start factorizing. Now you need to factorize. Okay, you need to clean it up and factorize. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Does that make sense? So if we have a number on the other side, then we must do FOIL, move everything over to one side, and then factorize again.
Okay, ma'am. I understand.
Okay. Excellent.
Thanks.
You're very welcome, my boy. Joshua is saying, how do we know if we factorize or should we factorize or expand? Joshua, if this number over here was 5, you can't factorize. You can't factorize because on this side, I need 0 first. I need 0 on this side first. So what you would have to do, Joshua, is take the 5 over to the other side and then factorize. Okay, we can only factorize if the right-hand side has a 0. I'm going to ask you guys again, everybody type in the chat for me. When do I factorize? What do I need on the right-hand side before I factorize? Tell me in the chat. What do I need on the right-hand side before I factorize? Wow, you guys have got me. 100%. Excellent. Now, let's look at this question that we've got over here. Okeka and Nkosana, I'm going to take your questions in just a bit. Let's look at this question over here. Let's look at B. Do I have a 0 on the right-hand side? Yes or no? Tell me in the chat, guys. Yes or no? That's it, Tapang. Yes. So can I factorize? Give me a thumbs up if I can. Give me a thumbs down if I can't. Can I factorize? Thumbs up for yes. Thumbs down for no. Absolutely. Yes, we can factorize because there's a 0. Okay, good. So we're going to take this one, B, and we're going to go x squared minus 2x is equal to 0. But now, this kind of factorization over here is not a quadratic because it only has 2 terms. Has anybody spotted what kind of factorization this is? What kind of factorization is? And I'll give you a high five, like through the screen, if you can figure it out. Oh, it's not going to be difference of 2 squares because 2x is not a square. What kind of factorization are we looking at? It is a binomial, but that doesn't tell us anything about factorization, Latita. No, it's not binomial. We need to take something out. I'll tell you guys that. It's not a trinomial. Oh, Oratile, you were almost there. One of your words is not correct there. Winnie, that's it. Yes, excellent, Winnie, 100%. That's it. Okay, it's the highest common factor. Good. It's the highest common factor. What is my highest common factor between x squared and negative 2x, guys? What is my highest common factor? Well, it can't be x squared because this one doesn't have an x squared. And it can't be negative 2x because x squared doesn't have a negative 2. It doesn't have a negative 2. So what do they have in common? They have x in common. That's the only thing they have in common. All right, they have x in common. So we're going to take x out. I'm going to take x out as a common factor. And if I take x out, I need to then divide by x over here and divide by x over there. Now, x squared divided by x is going to give me x. And negative 2x divided by x will give me negative 2. And this is equal to 0. Okay. Now that I've factorized, guys, I need to split. I'm going to split it again. Split. And then I can say x is equal to 0 because this x is sitting on its own. X is equal to 0, or this whole thing in the bracket over here, x minus 2 is equal to 0. Okay, my next step is then to take my negative 2 over to the other side and make it positive x. So my next line will then read x is equal to 0, or x is equal to, Karabo beat me to it. I was about to get to it. X is equal to positive 2. Well done, Karabo. Okay. All right. I want us to try D together. Let's try D. Okay, we're going to try D. I'm going to write it over here, minus 7x plus 10. All right, I'm going to write it over here. It says, solve for x. And then it says, x squared minus 7x plus 10 is equal to 0. Now, I want a volunteer who I can ask some nice questions. Anybody? Somebody? Oh, Mpo, yay. Hello, Mpo.
Hi, ma'am.
How are you doing, Miss Sweetie?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm excellent. Thank you, Miss Sweetie. All right, tell me, what is our next step? What are we going to do after we've written the sum down so nicely?
We're going to factorize, meaning that
Why? Why are we factorizing?
we had to find the two pair of numbers that actually get to negative 7 and positive 10.
Okay, cool. But I'm asking, why can we factorize? Why are we not trying to figure something else out? Why can we factorize? What do we have on the right-hand side of my equal sign?
0.
Good, we have 0, therefore we can factorize, yes? Okay, so when I factorize, what kind of factorization are we going to be looking at? What kind of sum are we looking at here?
We are looking at a negative 7x plus 10.
Okay, so it's a trinomial. You agree with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So I'm going to open two brackets, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Is equal to 0. Give me the factors of 10, Mpho. Give me the factors of 10.
5 times 2.
5 times 2. Excellent. Anything else?
1 times 10.
1 times 10. Good. But remember, because this number over here is negative, both of them need to be negative. Okay. They must be negative. Both of them must be negative in order to give us a positive, because a negative times a negative will give us the positive 10 that we want. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So I want them to give me -7. Is equal -7 or is equal -7, right? How can I change 5 and 2 so that they give me -7 when I add or subtract?
X minus 5 and then x minus 2.
Beautiful. I'm glad you're noticing that both of my numbers need to be negative.
Negative.
Excellent. Good. So I'm going to have x minus 5 and x minus 2. What's my next step, Mpho?
Well, we're going to find out that x minus 5, which is equals to 0, or x minus 2, which is equals to 0.
Wow. Finish up. Don't leave it hanging. Finish.
So that means so x would be equals to 5, positive 5. And then x would be equals to positive 2. Because remember,
Good.
I put it on the right side, which is 0 plus 5, which is actually positive 5. 0 plus 2 is actually positive 2.
I mean, it almost feels a little bit like you're trying to steal my job by explaining it better than I do.
Sorry,
I
ma'am.
don't trust you. You are a whole rock star. You deserve all the flowers. Well done. Well done.
Thank you, ma'am.
You did that so beautifully. Excellent. Eric, I see you. Excellent stuff. All right. Nkosana, do you have a question, or would you want to answer a question for me?
Ma'am, I wanted to ask, ma'am.
Yes.
Negative. How come did you get the -5 times the -2?
Okay, so remember, when we multiply them, Nkosana, they need to give us positive 10. What is -5 times -2?
-5 times -2 is negative. Where's my calculator?
-5 times -2 is positive. Negative times negative is positive.
I'm hearing, I think it's like dad or older brother telling you a negative times a negative is?
It's positive, ma'am. It means it's positive.
Good, it's positive. And then 5 times 2?
Yes, ma'am.
10. Good, all right,
10.
it's 10. So if we multiply these two, we're going to get this positive 10, okay? But I need to take -5 and -2 and add them together to get -7. So Nkosana, what is -5 minus 2?
-5 minus 2, ma'am. Is -7.
Is -7. So this number, when we multiply them, they give us this last number. Do you see that? And when we add them together, they give us the middle number.
Yeah,
And that's why
-7,
we use -5 and -2. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Now I understand.
All right. Excellent. Well done. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. I want us to do our brain break very, very quickly. We're going to do exactly one sum. I want to see if you guys can get it, and then we will continue with the maths in just a little bit. Okay. All right. And I do see your hands. I'm going to take your questions in just a little bit. All right. Here is our first brain break. I want you guys to think about this. It says here, multiply this number with any other number, and you will get the same answer every time. What is the number? Okay, think about that while I take Mohau's question. Hi, Mohau. I'm getting many conflicting answers in the chat. Mohau, how are you doing? Oh, Mohau's not unmuting. Let's say, oh, hi. Hello. My sweetie, if you're on your device, swipe left or right and you'll be able to unmute. Okay, hello, Mahau.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, and now you're muted again. Unmute, unmute. Oh no, okay, all right. I'm gonna take your questions in just a bit. Okay, because I'm getting two conflicting answers here. Let's see which one of these is correct. Okay, so it says, multiply this number with any other number and you will get the same answer every single time. So what this thing is saying is that if I multiply, let's say, for instance, 3 times whatever this number is, I must get the same answer here. And also, if I take this number and I multiply it with 5 times whatever this number is, I must get the same answer again. Now, for those of you who said 1, if I take 3 and I put 1 in here, 3 times 1 is going to give me 3. But 5 times 1 does not give me 3. 5 times 1 is not equal to 3. Okay, so the number we're multiplying by is definitely not going to be 1, because 1 will give us a different answer every single time. So what is the number that we're actually looking for here? Ah, that's it. And now we're getting it. Okay, cool. All right, this was a nice one, I think. I know that if I multiply anything by 0, the answer will be 0. So 3 times 0 will give me 0. And 5 times 0 will also give me 0. And 7 times 0 will give me 0. And 12 times 0 is equal to 0. Godfrey, I can't be more specific. The question literally said, you will get the same answer every time. You will get the same answer every time. And the only way you get the same answer every time when you multiply is if you multiply by 0. It wasn't me, it was the question. It was the question. Okay. All right, okay. That was our tiny little brain break. I'm afraid we're going to run out of time. So I just need you guys to hold on for me because I do have an announcement at the end of the lesson and I just want us to be okay. All right, I want us to try one more example, okay, where we're looking at factorizing to find an answer. Okay, now, here's the example that we're going to use. I'm going to put it over here on this side, okay? Here's the next example. I'm going to say, solve for x. And I'm going to say x squared minus 8x is equal to negative 15. All right. Any volunteers? Mohau, would you like to tackle this question? I'm not getting a response. Okay, Joshua, we're going to re-explain with this question. Tando?
Hello, ma'am.
Hi, my boy. Are you ready to help with this question quickly?
Yes, ma'am, but I'm not
Excellent.
100% sure with what I'm doing.
Okay, that's fine. We're going to work through it together. Okay,
Okay.
so tell me, what is my first step? What's the first thing I need to make sure of?
Okay. So the first thing that we have to do here is, isn't it the x squared that we have to be worried about?
Well, not exactly.
No,
We know
ma'am, it's
somewhere
fine.
we're gonna have
Actually,
to factor.
I think I got it.
Yes.
Yes,
We're
ma'am.
gonna have
To factorize, yeah. Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
But how do I get to factorize? What do I need first before I can factorize? What should my right-hand side be like?
To find the highest common factor, maybe.
Oh no. Remember, Tando, what do I need on my right-hand side? If I want to factorize, what do I need over here? I need what?
0.
I need 0. Do I have 0 on this side?
No, you don't.
No, we don't. So we need to move everything over to the other side in order to get 0, correct?
0. Yes, ma'am.
Good. So I'm going to move, what am I moving?
You're moving minus 15.
Good. We're moving minus 15 over to the other side, and it's going to become?
Plus 15.
Good. So now I'm going to get x squared minus 8x plus 15, finish up for me, is equal to?
0.
Good. Now that I have 0, what can I do? What's my next step? I have 0, so I must?
Now you must factorize, I think.
Yes, we need to factorize. Yes, absolutely, we need to factorize. But what kind of factorization are we doing here? What do we have? What kind of expression is this?
It's a trinomial.
It's a trinomial, good. So every time we see a trinomial, what do we need to do? Open
the brackets.
That's it, open the brackets, excellent. Open the brackets is equal to 0. Okay, I already know because this is x squared that I'm gonna have 2 factors of x, which is x and x, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm gonna show you, if you're confused about the signs, I'm gonna show you a way to remember the signs, okay?
Yes,
all right,
ma'am.
I know that one of the signs in my bracket is going to be a negative. Without a doubt, one of them is going to be a negative. So I'm going to put a negative in one of my brackets.
Brackets. And the other one a plus.
No, it's not going to be a plus. I need to ask myself first, Tando. Negative times what will give me positive? A negative times a?
A negative times a positive.
A negative times a positive would give us a what?
A negative times a negative will give you a positive, ma'am.
Good. So if I had to multiply this negative with another negative, it would give me a positive. Okay. So that means my other side also needs to be a negative.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me ask you another one. I want to make it a little bit easier here. If I had x squared plus 5x plus 6, I know that it's a trinomial, so I'm going to open 2 brackets, right? And I'm going to have x.
Yes, ma'am.
I already know that my one sign is going to be a positive, right? I know that my one sign is going to be a positive. Now, Tando, a positive times a what gives me a positive? A positive times?
A positive times... a positive times?
Times what? You need to tell me what this other thing is that is going to give me a positive. A positive times
a positive will give... yes.
Yep, that's correct. Yes, a positive times a positive. So this one would also be positive. Okay.
Yes.
All right, here's one more. Okay. If I have x squared plus 5x minus 6, I'm going to open 2 brackets. I know that one of my signs is a positive. So I'm going to put a positive here. Now, a positive times a what will give me a negative? Times a?
A positive times another positive will give you a negative.
Nope. A positive times a positive would give me a positive. What do I need to multiply by to get a positive? A positive times?
A negative, sorry, ma'am.
Negative, that's it. So my signs would be positive and negative. Okay, it takes a bit of practice, but that's beside the point. Let's finish up our question. Okay, so we're going to have a negative times a negative. Okay, give me factors of 15, please, Tando. What factors of 15?
1, 3, 5, and 15.
Okay, great. But what I need you to do, my sweetie, is multiply them together to give me 15. Otherwise, you might mismatch them. Okay, so I need to go 1 times what?
1 times 3.
It is going to
and
give me 3.
1
times 3
5.
is going to give me 3. It's not going to give me 15. 1 times what is equal to 15?
Oh, 1 times 15, ma'am.
Good.
1 times 5.
Okay, 1 times 15 will give me 15. And then other factors of 15?
1,
But think of other ways to times and make 15, Tando.
3 times 5.
Good, 3 times 5. Those are my other factors. Right, so it's either 1 times 15 or 3 times 5.
That's 5.
Right, now if I add them, because this is positive 15, if I add these two numbers, which one of them will give me 8? 1 plus 15 is not going to give us 8, right? 1 plus 15 is going to give us 16. What about 3
Yes.
plus 5? How much is 3 plus 5?
3 plus 5 will give us 8, ma'am.
Good, and that's the number that we want in the middle. But because
Yes,
both of our signs are negative, it's going to be -5 and negative.
Negative 3.
Okay, finish up for me. What can we do next step?
The next step is to separate them. So
Good.
it's now going to be x equals 5, I think. Oh,
But you can't skip this next step. You need to split it. X minus 5 is?
x minus 5 equals 0, or x minus 3, or x minus 3 equals 0.
Good. Now you can do the last step for me.
X equals 5 or x equals 3.
Good. Oh, x is equal to 3. Well done, Tando. Phew, that took us on a journey. Hey, we are going, but we are getting there. We're going to get there. Okay. All right. What I need you guys to do for me is you guys need to go practice your factorization. It's very important that we know how to factorize. And when I tell you guys that factorization is also part of the matric paper at the end of the year. Yeah. Okay. It's there at the very end of your matric paper. So we need to know how to factorize.